Dead men tell no tales, but their ships speak volumes. Welcome to the Cursed Compass, where we explore the darkest maritime mysteries. Imagine a dense, swirling fog off the coast of Hawaii. Suddenly, the eerie, pale glow of a 19th century schooner cuts through the mist, sailing with a crew that never ages and a hull that never touches port. This is a classic maritime trope. Coastal folklore across the globe is full of these wandering vessels, borrowing heavily from stories like the Flying Dutchman to populate our oceans with spirits. But the legend of the Māhukona Phantom ship is different. It doesn't appear in traditional Hawaiian oral history or local maritime records. The entire story is a modern fabrication. This phantom was assembled from 3 unrelated parts: a 1901 commercial wreck, an ancient submerged volcano, and a recurring trick of atmospheric physics. Deconstructing this legend reveals the specific mechanics of how a maritime myth is manufactured, using real history and geological data. The visual blueprint for the Phantom ship actually comes from a piece of fine art. In 2007, the auction house Bonhams sold a 19th century oil painting by William Edgar titled Schooner Mahukona in full sail. The subject of that painting was a real vessel. Built in 1901, the Mahukona was a 4-masted commercial schooner designed for the demanding trade routes of the Pacific. She wasn't a ship of mystery, but a ship of industry. Her career was spent hauling sugar and timber between the islands, serving as a vital link in the region's early 20th century economy. Her end was tragic, though entirely mundane. She was wrecked while being towed out of Samoa. There was no frozen crew, just a commercial loss that left the ship's name available for later storytellers to repurpose. This real-world tragedy provided the name and the visual profile for the myth, giving the fabrication a necessary anchor in maritime history. The second part of the myth comes from the ship's namesake, the Mahukona region on the Big Island. Beneath these waters lies a massive geological structure. This is the Mahukona submerged shield volcano, the oldest volcanic foundation of Hawaii Island. 470,000 years ago, this volcano stood 800 feet above the sea, a literal part of the Hawaiian skyline. Over hundreds of thousands of years, it subsided. The peak sank more than a kilometer below the waves, settling at its current depth of 3,770 feet. Remnants of this lost island still exist. In 2001, deep-sea submersibles explored the site, filming drowned coral reefs that haven't seen the sun in nearly 400,000 years. Because the name Mahukona is geographically synonymous with a sunken world, it provided a thematic bridge for the myth. It allowed a modern shipwreck story to feel as though it were rooted in the deep, ancient mysteries of the coastline. But how did a commercial shipwreck and a sunken volcano turn into a visual sighting of a ghost ship? The visual proof is often a Fata Morgana. These are complex mirages caused by temperature inversions that bend light, making a distant, ordinary ship appear to hover or stretch into an unnatural, glowing shape on the horizon. These illusions likely collided with the local legend of the Night Marchers, warrior spirits said to carry glowing torches along sacred coastal paths. When European tropes like the glowing Caluche ghost ship were imported to the islands, they were layered onto these local mirages. The result was a new, hybrid legend that sounds Hawaiian but is actually a mix of global folklore. The Māhukona Phantom is ultimately a psychological cocktail, a mix of optical physics, misapplied local names, and the human tendency to see ghosts in the gaps of our information. We are built to turn patterns into stories. When we see a light on the water we can't explain, we reach for the nearest legend to make sense of it. In this case, 3 disparate elements, a 1901 painting, a half-million-year-old geological event, and a horizon mirage, were fused together to create a haunting that never actually happened. While the spectral schooner is a fiction, it leaves behind a tangible record of the Mahukona coast, a real commercial vessel, an ancient volcanic foundation, and the predictable tricks of the Hawaiian horizon.